Hey there, fellas. As you all know, we've done our fair share of wheel-related experiments. We've offset hubs and had tons of fun. Spines crumbled, brains dripped out anyway. I suggest we keep that ball rolling. There are plenty of ways to modify a wheel. And recently, as soon as the thought occurred to me, I happened to accidentally stumble upon a really neat video. It is a really cool idea. And so I suggest we get this sort of thing to work on a car. Not just make the wheels though, but go for a drive on them as well. Let's go. Progress report. We've gone ahead and 3D printed this lovely mock-up, one that's somewhat scaled down. And what's interesting here is that if you were to look at it like this and slowly turn it, then eventually you will get to a point where you see a round object. And when we put this onto an axis like so, at the correct angle, of course, well, check this out. Turns out they roll quite well. When you move this around with your hand, you realize that the axle stays in one position. It's not bending or moving up and down. Instead, it just very evenly rolls around. And so, given that this mock-up works, well, who's preventing us from scaling this up? Let's go ahead and do just that. We're going to be making the wheels out of this plywood. The thickness here is 40 millimeters. I expect it to endure the stresses fairly well. Here we have the model, we've scaled it up, transferred it to paper, all of that is good. We have cut out some blanks, and now it's all a matter of sticking the sketches to them with the help of some glue. Then we of course mark everything up, of course cut out the wheels, treat the edges, and then, well, I'll tell you what's going on as we make progress. And with that, let's get to work. We've drawn the wheel as it's supposed to turn out. Now we're going to mark the center, which is where we'll situate the axis at a 27-degree angle. We've cut out the oval wheels, and we are now about to make a slanted edge, just like on the miniature version. That's to allow them to smoothly roll over the road surface. We have printed out this template in order to cut the pipe at the correct angle. Secure it like so, and once we cut the pipe, we'll weld on a flange. We'll have flanges on either side. We'll secure the wheels using some bolts, and that's about it. Let's start fabricating. Okay, so now that axis that we've made is going to require flanges. We need to make 4 of them to be exact. One flange is going to be welded to the axis. On the other side, we'll have the counterpart. We'll fasten the 2 halves together with some bolts. So to connect the wheel to the axis, we've machined these adapters. And now we're going to do some welding, measure the lengths to make sure they're identical, and fit everything to a car. And so here's what we've made, and it looks lovely. We have scaled up that model, duplicated it out of plywood. We've cut everything out, done the edges, made this here axis, some long adapters to ensure the wheels fit inside the arches, for them to be able to rotate. We've secured them with 2 bolts for the time being, to see how good of a job we've done here. And so when you roll this around with your hand, things seem to be on the up. Even though the whole thing looks pretty clumsy and weird. Works well, though. Just like with that tiny model, the center of mass, this has got more leverage, and it appears as if they're jerking around. But when you roll it like so, you can feel that it is moving very evenly, as if the wheels were round. I'd say we're looking at some solid results. Now we just need to fit them to a car. And of course find out how that car is going to drive on these wheels. The leverage increases considerably when it rolls onto the outer part. Different positions means a different vector, and it assumes a different angle. So the axle bends, the pipe bends, under the weight of the car. I guess we need to use some kind of very light car, if we want to get somewhere with this. We should weld in a bit of bracing to keep everything from bending so severely. Also try a different car. We can actually weld in a lot of bracing, tie some of it to the outer edge, even attach it close to the adapter. Now we just need to choose the right car. So initial testing has revealed that the axis is too long, and the makeshift wheels of ours, when sitting on the outer edges, they are bending way too hard. So is the pipe, and so we've decided to shorten the axes by 19 centimeters. Also, the wheels themselves aren't going to bend as hard. Check this out, this is the current setup. We had to beef things up, because with the long axes, things were noticeably bending. The car, well, this is the one we're using now. This hacked up thing. The reason behind that being it's lighter than that other one. The plywood was under quite a bit of load despite it being so thick. There was a lot of leverage, which resulted in some bending. This car doesn't weigh as much, and so this time things should work out very well. Okay, now the interesting part. Let's drive around a little bit and see how they do. Let's go. Starting the engine. Excellent. And our first 2 meters, hopefully. Take it easy. Some oscillation occurring. Why, though? Did we get some of the angles wrong? Probably bending again. Yep. That seems to be the case, but oh well. Why is that happening, though? So that appears to be the lowest spot. Need to bring it up slightly. But how do we do that? So look, if it bends in this position, or rather it bends like so when you push down, when you have that kink facing upwards, then there you go. There's still a chance. So after the initial shakedown, we now know that the makeshift wheels work. The car does move around, but we don't like the fact that the car does not drive evenly. It's jumping up and down. With all of that extra leverage, the wheel bearings are under increased load. That results in them wobbling around, and the car not quite driving the way it should. And so we've decided to place the wheels at a slightly different angle to compensate for the movement and to get the car to drive flat. Alright, we are ready to begin the testing. Let's see how these wheels behave over this sort of surface. Let me point the front wheels straight for now. I have tried driving in the garage, but doing it outside is a bit of a different story. It's moving. And quite nicely, I'd even say. I mean, it is jumping around slightly, but then the surface isn't quite as smooth as it is inside the garage. There you have smooth concrete, while out here you have bumps, potholes. Please don't dig yourself into a trap. Take it easy, don't press the gas too hard. They're digging into the road like shovels. Will you look at that? Let me try driving forward. It is very happy to drive forward. Easy. With no trouble at all. We are shaking around a bit, as we're not running rubber tires back there. They are hard. And as a result, all of the tiny impacts are picked up by the suspension. Not to mention the car itself is very light, with the rear end sliced off. As a result, the springs aren't loaded up. Oh, shouldn't have done that. I'm digging myself into a trap. But it also dug itself out. Just like I mentioned, check out the tracks they're leaving. Look at that wavy pattern. The edge is waving around, and it's drawing us a little pattern. Look at that. One that's looking nice and neat. That is awesome. Okay, since these wheels are made from plywood, the edges have begun to peel apart. I mean, after all, this isn't metal or some kind of hard plastic. It's wood and glue, but no big deal. Okay, time for some off-road testing. Right, where can I take this? Engine doesn't have enough power. And you said I got stuck. No, I didn't. This is going well. I mean, it is trying to get through, even on wheels of this sort. It's even doing a decent job. But you'll notice that the plywood is really starting to fall apart now. Yeah, they are slowly disintegrating. Okay, we've driven through some snow. Now I think it's time to drive at somewhat higher speeds. Well, it is driving. Starting to go sideways, I mean, take a look at that. This is starting to get even more fun. Yeah, I guess I'll try doing a bit of drifting then. So when they're turning at higher speeds, I guess there might be some slip occurring in the same exact spots, but it is really not all that eager to move. With the wheels turning at lower speed, the car definitely feels more sure-footed. What's interesting is that right now I just put the gearbox into second, and that didn't even really load up the engine. It is still very happy to rev. If we'd have been running even some kind of studless winter tires, on this sort of surface in second gear, the engine would have been struggling with the wheels rotating at this rate. And that's a wrap. It is very happy in second gear. It gets the wheels spinning easily because of the tiny contact patch. Okay, so whoever thought that these wouldn't work properly, well, in reality, it turns out you can easily drive on wheels of this shape. I mean, evenly, without jumping or jerking around. I mean, they did start to jump around at some point, what with them being made from plywood. They were no longer the right shape, and as a result, the car did start to jump around slightly. And let's not forget the surface isn't perfect. Back in the garage over a smooth surface, the car drove very well, as if it were running conventional wheels. But then you get out and have a look at those conventional wheels and realize that something is off. Still, they worked very well indeed. I think these are the sort of wheels you'd make for a car show. What do you guys think? Are they gonna look good? If we were to make them look really nice, with a single axis, no reinforcement, out of some sort of durable material, I mean, this is just me dreaming. Anyway, that's it for this video. Watch, subscribe, make sure to comment, and catch you guys later.